Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. A nice flower arrangement brightens any room, but they can be expensive. Today we'll show you how to make a great arrangement with grocery store flowers. Also, spring means flowers. Today we're going to show you how to plant them in containers. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Mary Hine. Miss Mary is an Extension Master Gardener right here in Shelby County. And local gardening expert Tanya Ashworth will be joining us later to plant a flower container garden. Miss Mary, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to talk about flower arrangements. I go to local grocery stores from time to time to buy flowers for the missus, but I don't think I do a good job arranging those flowers. So you're going to help me out today, right?
Yes, I'm going to try.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay.
Okay.
I got these flowers last night at a store, and they do a good job of combining your colors and sizes of flowers. But the thing that most people do incorrectly is just take this bunch and jam it into the vase.
Oh boy, I think I do that.
Yeah, everybody does that. So we're going to show you how to make them look a lot better than just how you're giving them. The first thing I did when I got home was to cut the ends off of the flowers, a fresh cut.
Fresh cut.
Because, and I wasn't going to arrange them right away, so I cut the ends off just a little and put them down in some water last night.
Okay.
And cutting the end, always cut at an angle. It gives you more surface for the water to get in, and it just keeps them fresh.
Okay.
This is a vase you would normally get from a floral arranger, like if you got flowers delivered to the house. And they use this because it's nicely shaped, and this narrow size right here keeps your flowers from flopping from one end to the other.
Gotcha.
They'll often do that. Another little trick, you don't have to do it with a vase like this, but you can get this really easily manipulated wire and put it down into your vase. This is something you can get at the dollar store, and it does, I'm not going to do it because it's so small, but it does help hold your flowers like a little armature for your movement of your flowers.
Okay, all right.
I mean, look at your flowers. They'll usually give you 3 to 5 large, major flowers. So they gave us 3 of these, moms.
Okay, and those are moms.
And
They look good.
yeah, they do. And you can always, when you're at the store, shake them a little, make sure they don't fall apart.
Okay.
Because they will start to just disintegrate on you. Just make sure you're getting a fresh.
Oh, well done.
So the main thing is, see how they're all the same height.
Okay.
That's a problem in design. So you're going to cut quite a bit off, and you're going to stagger the size of the cut. Make sure you don't have any leaves that will go down into your water, because it'll make your water smell and get it dirty and cause bacteria.
Okay.
So you're going to remove all that. You're going to estimate how far up you want your main flower to go, and then cut it off at an angle and put it in there. The next one you're going to make smaller.
Boy, am I making mistakes when I do this. Okay.
And yet smaller again.
Smaller. Wow.
So now you have, you know, a basis to move from.
Okay.
One thing about these little daisies are that they're chrysanthemums also, but they have that daisy look. You'll get a bunch of them in one stem, and that really doesn't look really natural when you put it in a vase.
Okay.
So I would cut off, you have one here.
So you will put the one in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then start eliminating, and you'll end up with something that looks a lot more natural.
Somebody at home's probably like, she's cutting them off. How about that?
Yeah, no, you have to be kind of brutal about that. But so you would arrange them in a way that looks freer than
Okay.
just a big clump of daisies. This is like a little hydrangea.
Oh, it's little bitty.
Yeah, it's little bitty.
Yeah.
If the leaves don't look good, just cut them off.
It's a thick
This
stem.
is pretty high. It is thick. It's a little bit harder to cut.
Okay.
They gave us some little roses. The roses I like. They're a little bit too close together. I'm going to trim some out.
Oh, wow.
Again, measure how high you want it.
I've never done that, the measuring thing. Oh,
Yeah, just
Wow,
put it on
okay.
the side of the vase. I learned a lot of this hit and miss, but I learned a lot of it just taking little courses like at the Dixon or the Botanic Garden.
okay.
You'll see those in the paper, and you'll can sign up for them.
Okay.
Now here's when you're really going to have to remove all these leaves because they're going to get below that water line.
And what are those?
I don't know what those are.
Okay. We have to figure out what that is, huh?
It's another thing about buying flowers at a grocery. They don't always tell you what they
Right,
are.
yeah, they're not labeled.
Yeah, they're not labeled adequately.
Those are pretty, though.
So you're starting to have, you know, the different heights in it, more interest. It looks a lot better than just plopping them into the vase. Also, you can buy just the one bouquet, but a lot of times I like to buy something else to supplement them. Maybe a different color. I didn't like the colors that they picked.
Or it could be something in your own yard, right, as well?
And they happened to last night have some greenery, just greenery, and I went ahead and bought that. But certainly you can go out to your yard and find a bush or something that has some fresh, clean-looking greenery to it, and put it in there. But always recut. Notice I'm recutting. And at the end of the couple of days, when it looks not fresh anymore, take them out, try to start over, cut it again,
Wow,
put your
start over. Okay.
fresh water in, and probably it'll look better the second time. And this is the kind of thing, the more you do it, the more you get a feel for it.
Okay. So I understand you have to make the fresh cuts, of course, right, at the bottom, at the base.
See, that makes it look just a little fuller
does look
and a little nicer. You can move the height of them now that you've cut them and they're not all the same. If you don't like it, just lift them up a little bit. But you see how the narrowness of this vase is really helping with that.
I can see.
I like these little white flowers. Of course, this is Alstroemeria, and it is a full flower. If you don't have a lot of fullness, then certainly get some of these to put in your arrangement,
Okay.
because it makes it look a little bit fuller. I like loose arrangements myself. I don't like anything that's real tight. I like the feeling of it's a garden. You've just picked from your garden and it looks natural to me.
Okay. Let me ask you about the water. So we're going to change that water out every day, every other day?
Yeah, I
What
would
do you
do
think
it
about
every day.
that? Every day? Okay.
And you can, if you don't want to recut, you know, just tilt it out and at least put new water in it every day, I think.
Okay.
It'll keep your flowers longer, and I think you'll be happy with it. See, that looks a little better
Yeah, it
than
looks fuller.
your original. Yeah. But spread your main flowers, these big yellow, spread them out in your vase so that it's not all on one side.
Okay.
It's another thing a lot of people do is they'll put all of the flowers on one side and all the different ones on another side, and it just doesn't help with a cohesive
Ms.
look.
Mary, that'll be me. I do that as well. Now, while you're doing that too, now what about using, these little packets that they give you?
I like to
food
use them,
packets.
but I don't always. I don't even always put the full packet in there,
Okay.
just half of it or so,
Okay.
and stir it up in there. And you could, if you changed your water, you'll save a little for the next day. It does help it somewhat.
Right.
And really, the grocery stores have gotten really good about having some fresh flowers for you. They're in pretty good shape. But always look at them, because if you're in a bunch, you'll have one or two that are just not looking really good, and they'll I don't know if they do that on purpose or not, but be sure and check it all and make sure that they're all fresh.
So what do you think?
I like it. Do you like it?
I do like it. I think it looks good.
Do you want to take that home to your wife?
I think I just may do that.
Okay, you
Thank
can
Miss
have
Mary.
it.
Yeah, we appreciate that demonstration, all right? Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right.
Last year, these Anthony water spirea were covered in scale. So we drenched them with a systemic insecticide, imidacloprid. And look how beautiful they are this year. We didn't do a soil drench on one of them. This spirea did not get any insecticide. And you see how awful it looks. It's not as pretty as the others, and it still has evidence of scale on it. So we will be treating this again this year. Those don't have any, this still does, so we will be treating this shrub so it'll look as beautiful as the others.
All right, Tanya, so we have our containers out here. You did this for us last year. We're gonna have you back again to do it for us now.
Thank you so much for having me back here to make some pretty flowers for your garden.
Okay.
All right, so the thing to know about container gardening is it's been around for literally thousands of years. People have been putting plants in pots forever.
Okay.
And you can put just about anything in a pot and grow it. Think about bonsais, you know. But vegetables, herbs, flowers, and today we're going to plant some flowers for you.
All right.
Now, when you choose your container, of course, you already have this nice barrel here for us. It's kind of a rustic feel to go in your vegetable garden, but if you're choosing a container for your house, you might want to think about, you know, the style of your house. Do you want something formal or something kind of rustic? How large is your space?
Okay.
Does the container need to be on caster so you can move it, or are you going to put it someplace and leave it?
Wow.
So
A lot of things to consider there.
yeah. Now, after you pick your container, and I always like to choose one that has drainage holes in the bottom. It's not absolutely necessary if your container is large enough, but I like to have drainage holes. You want to fill it up with some kind of soil. Now, if you have a very large one, you do have the option of filling the bottom with fillers.
Okay.
You don't have to use the really best potting soil through the whole thing, but you want to make sure the top 6 to 12 inches, depending on what you're planting, has the good stuff in it.
Okay.
So any kind of good bagged potting soil will work.
Okay.
So we already have ours filled with soil and ready to go. The next thing you want to do is choose your plants. Well, there's lots of things to consider there too. You know, is your container going to be in full sun? Is it going to be in shade? Is it going to be part shade? Part of the day sun, part of the day shade. So you have to think about the conditions that your plants are going to be in, and then choose all plants that can tolerate the sun or the shade.
Sure.
You may even want to think about watering. If you have things in there that are low water and things that are, you know, heavy drinkers, then that might not be a good combination.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I like to plant colors depending on the container too. So for a barrel, I'm thinking rustic. So oranges, reds, purples, greens, your primary colors are good for a rustic look. If you've got a formal looking container and it's going to grow in front of your nice fancy little porch, then greens and whites make a nice elegant look. Anything like white and dark purple, white usually is kind of a classic look. And if you're kind of going for the country cottage, pastels are good for that. So think about the look and the feel that you want for your container. Okay, so now that we've got our plants chosen, we've got mostly sun plants here. And the next thing we want to do is think about different heights.
Okay.
So to make a really nice presentation, it's just like you're going to do a flower arrangement in a vase. You want something kind of tall, you want something to be kind of a filler, and then you want something to spill over the edge to break up the hard edge of the container. And we call that thriller, filler, and spiller.
Spiller.
So for our thriller, which doesn't look very thrilling right this minute,
Thrilled, huh?
but it will be eventually, we have got a canna tuber. So this is the little top part of the package that it came from.
Okay.
And we're going to plant this in the center to be our tall thriller kind of a plant.
Okay, we'll sit
So
here and
it's
watch
got
you do that.
Our trowel here.
All right.
And you can see that this has signs of life, so that's a good
see that,
thing.
yeah,
It's trying to
yeah.
poke out already.
Okay.
And because it's like that, I'm not going to plant it really deep.
Okay. So we don't have to do anything else with that until plant it. Doesn't have to be
That's pretty much it.
teased or anything. Okay.
Nope, that's pretty much it. And it's going to go in the center. And then around, I'm going to choose some marigolds.
Marigolds. My dad loves marigolds.
Yeah,
Those would be good.
gives it a nice kind of garden feel, you know. Take these little plastic things out, y'all.
Okay.
Don't leave those in there.
And again, we don't have to tease the roots or anything. We just plant them right in the
Well,
soil.
these are pretty loose, so not too much to worry about there. Now, if it was very, very, you know, just nothing but a white mass of roots and like they're growing out the bottom of the plastic container, then yeah, you want to do something extra, but probably not necessary
Okay.
with that. So there's our marigolds, and we've got some nice verbena here. Now, when you're at the store choosing your plants, keep an open mind. So don't have in your head, okay, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy this, this, and this, because they may not have what you need.
Okay.
Exactly. So keep an open mind about what things you could substitute with if they don't have the exact plant that you had your heart set on.
It's a pretty good sized fruit ball there.
It is. You want to check for nice white roots
Right.
when you're at the store choosing your plants, and this one has a nice root system. I'm going to put this one kind of in the front. And you know, I'm kind of planting these all the way around. If your container is going against a wall, you can kind of do your tall thing right in the back and everything up in the front, everything else, but this we're going to see from all sides.
Now, do you do this with your containers at home?
Yes, mostly. It depends on what I'm
Mostly?
growing in it.
Okay.
I grow a lot of herbs at my house, so I don't really do this little formula with those. I have one pot that I really like of my herbs. I grow lavender,
Okay.
and I grow it in a purple pot.
Ah,
So when it blooms, it has the nice purple flowers, and then in that nice purple pot, I really like the look of that. So I usually will do a smaller container than this
okay.
and grow all of one thing, but then different sizes of
Right, I
containers.
got
So
you.
I'll have like, instead of doing the height in one container, I've got 3 containers of different heights that I'm
Okay.
planting all one thing in each one. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It does.
So it's kind of a 3-piece arrangement instead of an all-in-one look.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to start adding in my things that are going to spill over the edge.
These are spillers.
Yes. These are our spillers, and they break up the hard edge of the container. And this is our wave
Look at that
petunias.
root ball.
Nice
Now, do we need to
roots.
pinch, if we have something like that on our plants, we
Yeah.
can go ahead and pinch that off?
I mean, that's not going to get any better, so
Okay.
yeah, we take care of
Just
that.
pinch it.
Now, during the season, during the growing season, you have to keep in mind your containers are probably going to dry out a little bit quicker than the stuff planted directly into the ground. So you want to check on the watering probably every day. Go out and check your containers and see if they need any watering.
Okay.
It's also good to have containers for water management. Can usually take less water than if you did a huge bed full of annuals, but you get just as much of an impact with your container when it becomes full in the summer. Also, you want to scout for insect and disease
Yeah,
problems during the season, and I'm going to scoot this marigold over a smidgen
Okay.
to make room.
Yeah, I would also tell folks to check those pots to make sure they don't have any weeds growing.
Oh
in them.
yeah, that's a good point, Chris.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna break this up because it's kind of big, this root ball. And it will not hurt it to, you know, get in there and really mess around with it. It will grow back, all those roots will. So that's kind of how we do our containers. Also, you may want to deadhead your spent blooms during the year, during the season. And it may not look like much when you first get it planted, but with a little bit of sun and water, it won't be long before it's nice and full for you.
Right, and this is full sun, so it's definitely gonna get that. All right, well, Tanya, we definitely appreciate that demonstration.
Thank you.
We can't wait to see what it looks like later on.
Me
through the season.
too, me too.
All right.
Thank you.
We're going to remove this limb off of this magnolia. It's dying. We have dead tissue out here. And to make a proper pruning cut, you want to leave between 1/4 to a 1/2 inch collar. Now, I don't want to strip any bark off the bottom, So I'm going to cut in about 1/4 of an inch on the bottom of this limb. And then I'm going to come on top and about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I'm going to make the cut. And there we are. You can see the bottom cut here, where I made the bottom cut. I almost didn't go enough. You see how this is hanging, this tissue is hanging here, and I have a little tissue hanging here. If I had not made the bottom cut, when I cut this bark would have peeled all the way down, and that would have created a source of entry for bad organisms. But as it is now, we've got kind of a straight cut here, and we've got a 1/2 to 1/4 inch collar where it can heal. If you cut too close to the trunk of a tree, when it heals, it'll create almost a hole inside the trunk of the tree. This, when it heals completely, should be pretty smooth, and it should be on the outer portion of the trunk of this tree.
All right, here's our Q&A session. Miss Mary, help me out, okay?
Okay, I'll try.
All right, here's our first viewer email. I have small green bugs all over my clematis leaves. What are they? And this is from Miss Debbie. As you can see there, they're aphids.
Okay.
Do you know about aphids?
Yes.
Aphids have pierce-sucking mouthparts, so they're sucking plant sap, which can weaken, your plant. All right. And here's the deal about aphids, though. I think it's pretty neat. They actually have live birth.
Oh, really?
So you can have an explosion of aphids just that quick.
bet.
Live birth. Okay. Of course, they secrete honeydew, and that honeydew supports the growth of sooty mold.
Okay.
So, which is why you see that black sooty
Right.
mold. Okay, it's because you have the aphids, which secretes the honeydew.
Right.
All right. Again, it's a problem. Now, this is what I advise folks to do. Before you pull out the big guns, how about just get the water hose out, heavy spray, just knock them off.
Spray them off.
Just spray them off. Or, if you want low impact pesticides, insecticidal soap will do the job. How about your oils? There's neem oil, horticultural oil, or you can use pyrethrins. That's slow impact. Those will do the trick. And do be careful, because the larvae of lady beetles are probably around, and they actually like to eat aphids.
Oh,
So most people probably don't know what they look like and figure, hey, that must be another pest or something, and probably wants to nuke that as well. So just be careful. They're
Right.
doing their job.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to help you out. But yeah, aphids, they like new succulent growth. So if you put too much nitrogen fertilizer, in your plants, you get that burst of succulent growth, you're probably gonna have aphids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like that. And again, the populations just explode. Again, live birth. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so there you have it, Miss Debbie. Just use those low impact pesticides, insecticidal soap, pyrethrins, or just get the water hose out, knock them off. I think that'll be just fine. All right, here's our next viewer email. Why are my African violets not blooming? They are large and healthy looking, and I think you might know some about that.
I think it's probably doesn't have adequate sun. I've read that African violets like an eastern exposure, and it's healthy. It's getting sun, but it needs to have a little more sun, is what I think.
Okay, so bright light, but not necessarily.
Not direct, indirect bright
Okay.
light.
Okay. Indirect bright light. Okay. And make sure, obviously, they're growing, so he's, keeping a pretty good eye on them. So they're getting watered and all that good stuff.
Right.
But yeah, just not the bright sunlight, indirect
Right.
light. Okay. I can go with that, Miss Mary. Sounds good to me. All right, here's our next viewer email. I have black swollen growth on the branches of my plum tree. Is this a problem, and how do I take care of it? And this is Miss Liggins right here in Memphis. I see this a lot every year on plums. You can also see them on cherries, okay? That growth starts out as a soft textured gel, okay? And you can find it along the branches and twigs of your plum trees, okay? Throughout the season, that gel starts to get hard and it turns into a gall. And here's the deal with it. It's a fungus that causes that. It's gonna be hard to treat. You could use Captan, but you have to read the label on that. You're gonna be spraying from the beginning of the season, pretty much to the end of the season, it seems like. But just read the label on that if you're gonna use that. But here's what I always go to. Resistant varieties, okay, so you don't have to worry about that problem. Or the second thing is this, pruning. So I would go maybe 6, 8 inches below where you see the black knot is what it's called, and prune it out. Okay, it's gonna be a lot of work, especially if you have tall trees. But yeah, 6 to 8 inches below the black knot itself, which is the fungus, cut it out, hope for the best.
That's right.
That's what I would do. But this is also a lesson in practicing good sanitation, because this fungus actually overwinters, you know, in all of that debris.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to get that stuff up, because again, you're gonna have your spores in there when it, you know, the wind starts blowing or rain will splash those spores back up, or in the air. It's gonna be a problem. So practice good sanitation. Get all, you know, those limbs and things like that up, collect them, throw them in the trash,
Right.
not in the compost pile,
Right.
and you'll be just fine, Ms. Liggins. But yeah, I would prune that out. I wouldn't so much worry about the spraying, because it's gonna be a lot of spraying, and if it rains, you have to go back and spray again. I would just go ahead and prune that out, and then practice good sanitation, and that should help you out.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Mary, we're out of time. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Remember, we love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. If you want to get more information on anything we talked about today, or rewatch Mary's flower demonstration, just go to familyplotgarden.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.